Stories sell faster than facts. When you use storytelling in your business, you don't just explain what you do. You create emotion, trust, and connection. This short session shows how powerful storytelling can transform your business fast, helping you attract the right audience, build loyalty, and turn attention into action.
All right, let's just jump right in. What if I told you that the single most important thing you can do to grow your business has, well, nothing to do with your logo or your website's colors or even your product? Nope, it actually comes down to something way simpler: the words you use. If you get them right, you thrive. But if you get them wrong, well, that's exactly what we're here to figure out. So let me ask you this, straight up. Are the words you're losing on your website, in your emails, in your sales pitches, are they actually helping you grow? Or are they killing your business? Because when you use vague or clever or confusing language, you know what happens? Your customers' eyes just glaze over. They tune you out. And poof, they're gone, already looking for your competition. And this really brings us to the core mantra for today, from Donald Miller. If you confuse, you will lose. It really is that simple. See, unclear messaging isn't just some small mistake. It is one of the most expensive mistakes that businesses make every single day. And the proof? It's right there in the numbers. So what's this number? Well, this is from a real company that doubled its annual revenue. I'm talking from $100 million to $200 million just by making one single change. You guessed it, they clarified their tagline. That is the kind of power we are talking about. The right words don't just explain what you do, they sell what you do. So how do we find these magical money-making words? It all starts by understanding that you have just a couple of seconds to pass what we're going to call the 2-second test. When a potential customer lands on your website, you have maybe 2 seconds to communicate how you can help them. And to pass that test, we really have to get into how their brain is wired. So, the human brain is basically doing two things all the time. First, its number one mission is survival. It's constantly scanning the world for things that are going to help it survive and thrive. And second, it's incredibly lazy. It's designed to conserve calories. And you know what burns a ton of calories? Thinking too hard. So the brain is built to just ignore anything that's complex or confusing. Okay, so here's the absolute key. To break through that mental filter and actually get noticed, you have to position your product as a survival asset. You have to show clearly and immediately how you help a customer make money, save money, ease their anxiety, or gain some kind of status. If you can't do that in a split second, you're invisible. They will ignore you. And this example just illustrates the difference perfectly. Imagine you're at a party and you meet two chefs. The first chef says, "I'm an at-home chef. I come to your house and I cook for you." Okay, it's clear, but it's just a service, right? Then you meet Chef 2. He says, "I'm an at-home chef. I help your family connect over a healthy meal without you having to cook or clean." Whoa, see the difference? So who gets all the business at that party? It is gonna be Chef 2 every single time. And why is that? Because he didn't just sell cooking, he sold a solution to a deep human problem. He positioned his service as a survival asset, family connection, and he did it with a simple, powerful soundbite. Okay, so we get it. The problem is confusing language. The goal is to position our product as a survival asset. But how do we actually do that? Well, the solution isn't some newfangled marketing trend. It's a framework based on the most compelling communication tool ever created, one that's been grabbing human attention for over 2,500 years: story. And this powerful tool is called the Story Brand Framework. It's a 7-part formula that uses the universal structure of story to make your message absolutely crystal clear. I mean, think about it. A good story is one of the only things that can hold our attention for hours on end. We can borrow that exact same power to make our customers listen to us. So this framework is going to help us create 7 essential categories of sound bites. Just think of these as the building blocks for all of your marketing. Once you have these 7 sound bites dialed in, you can use them absolutely everywhere to create a message that's simple, that's repeatable, and, incredibly effective. So here's the whole framework, all laid out. A character who wants something, runs into a problem, then they meet a guide who gives them a plan and calls them to action. And that action helps them avoid failure, and it all ends in success. Every great story you love, from Star Wars to the Hunger Games, it follows this pattern, and every great brand should too. Let's break this down, starting with parts 1 and 2. The single biggest shift you need to make is this: your customer is the hero of the story, not your company. So your first job is to define the one thing they really want. Then you have to clearly define the problem you solve for them. This right here becomes the most critical soundbite you will ever create because people don't buy products, they buy solutions to their problems. Okay, next up, the hero meets a guide. Now, this is where so many businesses get it completely wrong. They try to position themselves as the hero of the story. But think about it. The hero is usually weak, confused, they need help. You don't want to be Luke Skywalker, you need to be Yoda. The guide is the strong, competent character who already has the plan. You must be the guide. And the stakes for getting this wrong are incredibly high. Just look at this example. The tagline, "I'm with her," from Hillary Clinton's campaign, made two classic messaging mistakes. First, it positioned a candidate as the hero, not the voter. And second, the message itself was pretty vague. It invited people into a story about her journey instead of a story about how she could guide them to a better future. So, once you are the guide, you need to give the hero a plan and call them to action. The plan needs to be super simple, like a 3-step process for working with you. Don't make them think or guess what comes next. And then you have to explicitly ask for the sale. A really powerful soundbite you can use here is, if you're struggling with X, buying Y is the right decision. See, it just removes their doubt and gives them permission to buy. And finally, every great story needs stakes. You have to clearly communicate what can be lost and what can be won. So you need 2 more soundbites. One that paints a clear picture of failure, what bad thing is going to happen if they don't buy your product, and one that paints a beautiful vision of success. What will their life look like if they do buy your product? Okay, so you've done the work. You've created your 7 essential soundbites. So now what? Now you stop confusing people and you start growing your business by putting these messages to work in what we call a messaging campaign. So what's a messaging campaign? It's simply a series of ideas, all expressed in your new, clear soundbites that consistently position your products as the solution to your customers' problems. And this is actually way more important than your marketing campaign, because having the right words will make every single dollar you spend on marketing work infinitely better. And you can and should use these soundbites everywhere. They become your new tagline. They're the headline on your website's landing page. They're the core of your email campaigns, your social media posts, your sales talking points, you name it. This consistent, clear story becomes the solid foundation for all of your communication. Look, if you only take away one single thing from all of this, please let it be this. Be clear, not clever. Sophisticated, fancy language might make you feel smart, but it just confuses people. And we've learned what happens if you confuse. You lose. Simple, clear language that solves a real problem, that's what sells. And that leaves us with one final thought. Right now, take a look at your website, your last email, or even just your business card. After everything we've talked about, what story is your business really telling? Is it a confusing story about how great you are? Or is it a clear, compelling story about how you guide your customer to success? The answer to that question? Well, it could change everything.
Thanks for watching. Like, comments, and share.